Good evening, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to my beautiful rideshare revolutionaries. How y'all doing today? Happy Monday. Um, Today we're gonna do a quick analysis, first impressions of the new what replaced the primetime multiplier in Chicago is now the personal power zones rolled out by Lyft today. These are my first impressions from what I've seen today. I only did a few rides that had them, so hope you'll join me on this journey to examine uh, Lyft's attempt to copy Uber's flat surge and how it's different than the flat surge and how so far how it compares to it. So as you guys see that right there, made $109 in 5 hours or almost 6 hours, and that seems a little deceptive, only because after my second Lyft ride today I was on app for an hour, both apps, driving back to the city, eating the miles. So I mean, I know it was a kind of a shitty morning today. It was kind of a shitty Monday for me, but it's okay, we soldier on. Okay, so this morning, okay, I this morning was straight Uber. First, I got in the car around 3:40 in the morning. My first Uber ride took me to O'Hare. Then my second Uber ride was a passenger I picked up several times before. Took him to the west side. Then from the west side, I went to downtown Chicago. Then from downtown Chicago, I had a O'Hare ride, which was estimated at 24 minutes when I took the request. That trip took over 55 minutes. So that one kind of fucked up my morning, because if you get stuck away from the city at that time, like if you're gonna get stuck to O'Hare on a Monday, you it's a good idea to be back in the city where the surge is at before 6 a.m. So I did not drop that girl off until about maybe 6:10. Yeah. So I dropped her off, and then Lyft had a personal power zone, which I forgot to take a screenshot of, but I'll show you what it looks like in the gallery. So I went to the power zone. I had the app on. I let it tick up, and then I didn't get a ride for like 6, 7, 8 minutes, and I lost patience. I was like, okay, well, gotta eat the miles. So I drove to Chicago, drove back to the city, and I turned the Lyft app off, and then I got this ride. Um, then I got this ride right here, the first ride. Yeah. So I thought this was interesting because Uber was surging, but I wanted to see if I can get one of these new Lyft power zones, just to experiment with it, because it's my first time. And it actually, on the thing, it said the bonus for this ride was the power zone that I left with around O'Hare and Rosemont. So I think that's a pretty cool feature. I guess you have a certain amount of time. Um, so even though I turned my Lyft app off, that personal bonus, that power zone bonus, still applied to this ride. But here's the drawback: this was a shared ride, so I had 3 passengers, 3 drop-offs, and unlike Uber with a flat surge, there's a flat surge applied to each additional pickup. On Lyft, that wasn't the case. I'm not gonna say this is a sure thing, because maybe, just maybe, because I turned my Lyft app off, it didn't apply the bonus to each additional pickup like Uber would. I don't know. But this is just first impressions. So because of this, if this is how it is permanently, where you only get one bonus per, even though they could be 5, 6, 7, 8 pickups for a shared ride, which does happen, then this is an absolute, it doesn't even hold up to the flat surge. The flat surge kills it. But yeah, so that happened. I was a little disappointed with it, because that Uber ride with the flat surge would have paid probably, if I made $23 off that one, um, that would have been $35 on Uber. So, and then the very next ride, I turned the app off, and then And then I ended up in a power zone, right in the pink zone. So I turned the app on, and it ticked up for a little bit, and then I got a 45 plus. And I was like, okay, well, let me try this out. Let me see how this is. I was thought it's going to be going to O'Hare because that's about the time some people go to O'Hare, and that'd be about a 45-minute ride. He was actually going further north than O'Hare. So this was a 27-mile ride for an hour. And the bonus was $11, even though the power zone was at 7. But let me show you this really quick. So, no, wrong. That's not what I want to do. There you go. So that was after I dropped that person off. As you guys can see there, it says extra bonus added. You earn more on your last ride. So they gave me a bit more than what I was quoted at for the power zone. And then after I dropped him off, I was somehow in a power zone up north, right where I dropped him off. I stay in the pink zone, and every couple seconds the number ticks up. So that was 872, and then like 6-7 seconds later it was 877. So as long as you stay in the zone, it ticks up and up and up. And I think it remained around like $11 and something until the power zone disappeared, and I just didn't get a ride, so I couldn't cash in on that power zone bonus. And this is what the new Lyft power zone map looks like, I guess. This is what the heat map looks like now on Lyft. Looks like piss yellow. Looks like someone definitely needs to drink more water. Yeah, I mean, with Lyft's current like setup on the app, that you can barely even tell what that is. But it was kind of, this was at 1:29 in the afternoon, so not a ton of demand around the time. So I understand why this doesn't look like there's a ton of demand on the Lyft app. So that's allowable. But I will say I'm very disappointed with this ride. So if we go back to the trip history, earnings breakdown, I made $41 and the passenger was charged $72. So Lyft made some good money on this ride. That's, what is that, 40% maybe that they overcharged the passenger compared to what I made. I mean, I understand it happens, guys, but this is what kind of concerns me. Now, this is going to take a little bit of like trial and error, obviously, but the wording of the app says personal power zone. So the way I interpret that is that the power zone that I am seeing, the potential bonus I'm seeing, might be different than the driver right next to me in the same part of the city who's got the Lyft app on. And if that's the way it works, I'm not saying it does for sure because I do not know at this point, then if I'm seeing a different power zone than him or her or whatever, and that's still completely different than what the passenger is being charged, because we don't know what prime time or what surge or whatever, how much in demand pricing they're charging the passenger now. So that's the really kind of shitty part about this. I mean, we saw the same thing with Uber when they switched to the flat surge, because we don't really know what they're charging them until we, and that's why I completely disagree with upfront pricing and all that stuff. But as of right now, with the power zone, the personal power zones, pluses and minuses. Plus, on short rides, this is going to be very beneficial. If you can rack up a lot of those pink bonuses, you could be looking at substantial earnings in a short amount of time. Minuses, doesn't really seem like, and pluses, the trips do multiply to an extent. I mean, obviously I had one multiply today. Minuses, you don't really know what those numbers mean, because it doesn't seem like they reflect the actual demand, just kind of like what you might get in a bonus. I know it's kind of confusing, but that's the minus. The minus also is it doesn't pay additional bonus per pickup like this flat surge does. And the other minus is like, with Uber, you can tell the flat surge amount from a zoomed out app. With Lyft, I'm not really seeing that so far. It seems like you can only really see the personal power zone when your app is clicked on and you're in that area. So you can't identify what your power zone would be. Let's say I'm coming in on the highway. I wouldn't be able to spot what the power zone is up north in Lakeview, or yeah, up north in Lakeview. I wouldn't tell what the power zone is in Bucktown. I wouldn't be able to tell what the power zone is in Hyde Park. And I'm not saying you should chase surge, but if you're familiar with those areas, you want to know what you're driving into. You want to know how much you stand to make. So for that, I would say this is I would say it's a downgrade. Obviously, I mean obviously to take away the multiplier is the downgrade no matter what. But this doesn't seem like any kind of improvement. This doesn't seem like unless you're doing short rides, really short rides, it doesn't seem like many drivers are going to like this. Um, but we shall see. I really can't say for sure. Obviously, I need to play around with it a bit more. First impressions are not a fan. Not a fan. But the apps do what they do, and we're probably stuck with it for the time being. So, or probably permanently. What am I saying? And that's all I got for this one, guys. I want to thank y'all for watching. Those of you who have been dealing with the personal power zones for a while, tell me what you think of it. What are the strategies you've been using? How do you get around the nonsense? What's the most you've seen multiplied? And yeah, let me know. Drop them comments and I'll read them. So everyone, please stay safe, stay driven, stay classy. I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.